Hi, Cynthia. You're muted.
There we are. So we're recording already?
Yeah, Dave will chop off the beginning before we put it on YouTube. I just don't want to forget to I don't want to hit pause and then forget to unpause again.
Oh, I gotcha.
And I'll do the intro. Were you going to do the slides on your end, or do you want me to do them on my end?
I can do them.
Okay, that'll be good. Then I won't accidentally miss the cue to the next slide.
Yeah, so let me go pull that up. Oh, now that I think about it, I wonder if he put Dropbox on here. We just had to, oh boy. Okay. Who? I may have to go download it. Okay. All right, hang on. I gotta go in the other room. All right. We are. All righty, perfect. Oh boy.
And worst case scenario, I can do the slides for you.
Yeah, I just need to, the computer, he's still setting it up. Now it wants to know my password. That's a good question. Which account is it signing in on? The computer crashed before we left for Florida.
Oh.
And so we knew we needed a new one, but you know how it is. You put it off and blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
Bam. And of course, now you don't get to shop around and pick a computer. You buy the first one you find that's going to work. So that's how that went. And then we still had setup to do when we got back.
And I never know how long it's going to take to do Facebook Live, so I'm going to set that up now.
Okay, so I now have got that there. Yay. Enable editing. There we go. So I can show it. Yay. All right. I think it's all set up now. So I could actually do a share screen. Let's see.
Oh, so let me stop sharing so that you can share yours.
Just to make sure it's working.
Mhm. And we are now live on Facebook.
Oh, okay. So you see that?
I do.
All right. So I think we're all set then.
Okay, well then I will share. Hello, Dave.
Gang. Sorry for running a little late there. Look at that fancy slide.
Although I still haven't updated my background to the new logo. Maybe that'll be tomorrow's project.
Quite all right. And I certainly wanted to hear this information, and I'm just gonna hide in the background. So do you need me to do anything, Gina?
I don't think so. We're set on Facebook Live.
Oh, good.
You
know what? Then
I didn't
I'll keep an eye on that.
Okay.
Okay.
I
Sometimes
didn't
there's
pause
questions.
the recording since for the YouTube because I know you can just kind of chop it off for us anyways.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll keep an eye on
Done.
Facebook Live then in case.
Thank you. And I'll keep an eye on the chat. And thank you everyone that's joined us. We're going to wait till right about 7 o'clock to start. And this is being recorded. So if you know of anyone that should be here at this webinar this evening and wasn't able to make it, please feel free to share the link. And the weather will be warming up for at least a few days. So hopefully that'll be encouraging people to go bike to their local bicycle friendly business.
They're predicting some snow for us this weekend. I'd be excited to get to do some skiing.
I have skis. I've just found I'd rather be on my fat bike instead.
Yeah, I don't have a fat bike. But lots of people around here do. You see the tracks in the snow.
Yes. After several people have been out on the fat bikes, then it makes it packed in enough that people on regular mountain bikes can go out on our local trails too. Of course, right now it's been pretty icy the past several days on both the paved paths, dirt paths, and even some of the roads still.
Oh, it rained here after the ice storm, so it washed almost everything away. But when we came back in Sunday evening, all the roads were clear. Yeah, they had an ice storm and then it rained, washed it all away after everybody slid all over the place and crashed and ran their cars off the road because they appear to think they're magical and they never slow down when it ices.
I have noticed that. My bike with the studded tires, I would say there were people that could not get out of our subdivision on the cars, and I rode up and down, no problem with my studded bike. And luckily, they put salt down before I actually had to take the car anywhere. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We're going to wait a couple more minutes. And as I just said a few minutes ago, if you knew of people that should really be here tonight and just have something else going on, we are recording this, so they will be able to check it out after the fact. And I'll say this again once we officially get started, but I would use the chat for most questions as well, because when we end the webinar this evening, the chat will be downloaded. So then if we weren't able to get to your question, we will still be able to see what you asked or your comments.
Hopefully we'll be able to answer any questions.
Okay, so it's 7. I'm going to wait till 7:01 just in case anybody else needs to still sneak in. And then we will begin. And once you start presenting, Cynthia, I'll mainly be on radio silent, but I'll keep an eye on the chat. And if there's a quick question that pops up that's on that particular topic, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I figure we'll get to most of them at the end.
So we had questions in there, but are we going to do a poll or are we going to just?
I have the 3 polls. So we have those. I have slides set up for them.
Okay.
And I think, in fact, then you formatted them to make them look all pretty.
Okay.
So thank you, everyone that is joining us this evening. This is our Becoming a Bicycle Friendly Business webinar. And we'll try to answer questions tonight. But if you come up with any after the fact, feel free to email us. And if we can't answer them, we'll pass them on to Cynthia. As you know, this is Ride Illinois. We've been doing these webinars now pretty much not quite monthly, but on a regular basis since the pandemic began. I'm going to give you a little bit of information about Ride Illinois, although I think all of our participants know a lot about us already. But some of our goals are bike-friendly roads, more trails and improved trails, favorable legislation and policies, as you see, cyclists and motorist education, and just sharing our love of cycling with others. And this year marks 30 years of us doing bike advocacy and sharing our love of cycling. You have 2 of our 3 staff actually on the webinar this evening. So Dave Simmons is our executive director. I am our communications and projects coordinator. And then Ed Barsati is our senior consultant. Oops, sorry, I just skipped some slides here. We do want to thank our corporate members. In fact, we want to thank all of our members. We have our individual members and family members, and then our corporate members are listed here. The full list is on our website, along with the links to those businesses, and they are supporting our advocacy work. Our bike safety quiz, many of you are probably familiar with. It's free, you learn through the quiz, and if you are deciding to become a bicycle-friendly business or a bicycle-friendly community, education is part of that, and things like our quiz can definitely help with that. One of the things we've been doing for the past couple of years is really trying to build the biking community. So we want not just road cyclists, mountain bicyclists, we want everyone who rides a bike to be a part of the Ride Illinois community all over the state, different ages, everything. We want you to come pedal with us. Said ways you can support us, of course, as I already mentioned, our corporate members, individual members, but we also want you to ride as often as possible, follow the rules of the road. You're basically one of our ambassadors whenever you're out on a bike. Promote our organization and our bike safety quiz, and connect with us. Share your suggestions and concerns with phone calls, emails, follow us on social media, and of course, as I said, become a member. This is mine and Dave's contact info. You can also just send an email to info@rideillinois.org. The ground rules, basically, there's a question box too, but if you share your comments and questions in the chat, like I said, that will be downloaded at the end of the webinar. So we'll have a record of that in case there's something we weren't able to get to. And as I previously mentioned, this is being recorded. It will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, and there will be a link on our website as well. So I am going to stop sharing. And while Cynthia gets her presentation up, I did want to give a little intro for her. She is our vice president of our board. She's also a league certified instructor through the League of American Bicyclists. And she's been working at the local, state, and national levels to create safe streets for all users for more than 35 years. So she's 36, right? She's a fellow of the American Institute of Certified Planners and the Institute of Transportation Engineers, and author of Traffic Calming. And as I mentioned, she's a league certified instructor. She's also the chair of the Champaign-Urbana Safe Routes to School Project, serves on our board as vice president, and the Urbana Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Commission. And we are so pleased to have her this evening.
Thanks, Gina. Thanks for that intro, and thanks everybody for being here. As we move forward on this presentation, I do want to give credit to Amelia Neptune at the League of American Bicyclists. She's the director of the Bicycle Friendly America program, and she gave me this presentation she had done, which I've adapted for our use here tonight, but she did a lot of the legwork on this. So for those of you who are not as familiar with the program, there are several different parts to it. There's bicycle friendly state, bicycle friendly community, bicycle friendly business, and bicycle friendly university. It started back in 1995 with the bicycle friendly community program. And then the bicycle friendly business and bicycle friendly state program was started in 2008. And Bicycle Friendly University was started in 2011. And this is what the report cards and the rankings look like when you go to the website for states. And so I pulled up and added Illinois' report card here. We do well. We're among the top 20 or so. As you can see, we're ranked number 16. But of course, we would like to do much better than that. And one of the ways that we can do that is by getting more bicycle friendly businesses certified in the state. So that's why I'm going to talk about that tonight. All right, so bicycle friendly community program, that's the biggie. And that's the first one that we did here in Urbana, Illinois. And so bragging rights here in that Urbana is the only gold level bicycle friendly community in the state. And we're pretty proud of that. Chicago's doing a lot of work and they're doing a lot of good work, but it's a big city. I think it's harder for big cities to actually get higher designations. They're at silver now. In bicycle friendly universities, we've got a number of those in the state, including the University of Illinois, both here and in Chicago. And here they're classified as a silver level university. So we wanted to do a quick little poll and ask you whether or not you are aware of your community status. Are they a bicycle friendly community or not? And if you don't know, that's fine too. You can just tell us, and that shouldn't take too long. We've got a small and active group here, so you can just tell us and we'll zip forward.
I'm gonna wait a few more seconds, see if our last person answers the poll. Okay, I'm going to end it. So looks like we have some room for improvement. There were none that knew for sure that they were. 40% said no, and half said they weren't sure. Or sorry, did not share them with you guys. There you go.
All right, so we do have some work to do there. Okay, next. So we're going to talk about all the various things that go into this, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each of the programs very quickly, just to give you sort of an overview, and then we'll go on to bicycle friendly businesses. But just to start us off, you can see that there are 1,458 in the state as of this last August. They did have another round of applications in the fall, which they'll be announcing before too long. And so you can see the different levels and how many businesses achieve different levels. I have done several here locally. And for example, the transit district where I work is classified as a silver level bicycle friendly business. Do you know if there are any bicycle friendly businesses in your area? And if you're here, you probably don't work at one or own one, but we thought we would just ask to see what your answers are. And that'll help us know who we've got with us tonight.
Okay, we'll give a few more seconds for this one. Okay, I'll share the results. So 20% said yes, I work and own for one, and 80% do not know.
All right, well, we're very happy to hear that we already have some people here who've done this. Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to share with you is that bicycle-friendly communities are places where people want to live. And there are some interesting correlations that are noted about this, that among places that are listed as best places to live, retire, work, study, etc. In US News, 6 of the top 10 were bicycle-friendly communities. For Forbes, the healthiest cities out of the top 20, 15 were bicycle-friendly communities. And so those are all things that indicate that this is something that is a value to a community. And it is something that once a community has this designation, they really are very proud of it and try to retain it. For businesses, there are a lot of benefits, and that's one of the reasons we try and advocate to businesses about it, is that it really is helpful. It's important in helping improve the health of the employees. It decreases absenteeism for businesses, and they have also found that companies save money. And for example, there's in Minnesota, the Quality Bicycle Products Company did an analysis for themselves about this, and they found that the company saved $170,000 in healthcare costs in 3 years after they became certified as a bicycle-friendly business. So another thing that is a benefit to employers and to businesses is not needing as much parking. And some communities even have programs to help with providing bike parking, transit passes, etc., because you can put 75 bike parking spaces in for the cost of 4 car parking spaces. So there are a lot of benefits, and those are things that we want to emphasize. For employees, it really does make a huge difference if you have activity built into your day. And all of the health research shows this, that people get more exercise if it's just part of their regular routine. They don't have to go to a fitness center or make a special point of getting exercise. And I know for myself, if I get a bike ride in at the beginning of the day, that really helps me to function better all day long. And this has also been shown to be true for children. Children who ride their bikes to schools do better academically. It also saves people a lot of money and the other things that we talked about earlier. Also, people who ride their bikes to work tend to be happier about their commute than people who drive cars. And if you ride your bike in town, you know, there are issues. We sometimes arrive at work upset about how drivers behave, but most of the time drivers behave well. And so I don't arrive at work angry. So here's a little bit more information on the Quality Bikes company out of Bloomington, Minnesota, one I mentioned earlier. And you can see that they did these calculations and found that during the period when they did the analysis, the average US healthcare costs increased 24.6%, but theirs only increased 4.4%. So it really does make a difference if your employees have the opportunity to be active as part of their commute. And I will tell you, I'm pretty sure that college students, for example, look at the bicycle-friendly status of the university and the community that they're looking to move to when they're making those choices. And I know sometimes when I go to visit a community, I go and look and see if there are any bicycle friendly businesses. And if there's a restaurant that's a bicycle friendly business, I look it up and that's where I go to eat. Because I expect that they'll have bike parking for me. And I know that they're probably supporting bicycling in the community. So there are a lot of great things that can come out of this. It gives you a lot of good recognition at the national level in that people can find it there. And what this slide is showing you, by the way, is that the CDC has included having bicycle friendly communities as one of the proven strategies for having an active people healthy nation program. That's a program that they have. And so they have criteria for how to achieve that. And that's one of the things that you can do. As most of us know, bicycling as a commuting option has been increasing, and you can see also the number of bicycle-friendly communities has been increasing. And one of the things they have found is that there's another slide later on that will show that communities that are classified as bicycle-friendly communities have much higher rates of bicycling. So now down to what you really came here for, which is to find out, how does this work? So there's an online submission program, and the application is then reviewed by a committee. They send out a survey to local cyclists and advocates and some targeted public surveys to get some feedback. And then they award from bronze to platinum. Honorable mention is another option if you did well, but you didn't do well enough to be classified. And some, I don't know how often this happens for businesses, but for communities, some of them will get no designation. I will also tell you that the bicycle-friendly business application is much, much simpler than a bicycle-friendly community application. A bicycle-friendly community application is a pretty rigorous process. And I know Urbana in the last few years has hired the planner from our MPO, our Metropolitan Planning Organization, to help do that because it does take a lot of time. So in terms of the bicycle friendly businesses, though, it is a much easier application. And whatever happens with your application in terms of the status that you achieve, they give you an excellent report card and a roadmap with suggestions for how to improve. And that really makes a difference, I have to say. There's also a little way on there that there's on the online application page that you can sort of take a look and see if you're ready to apply. And so I would suggest you take a look at that as well. It's kind of a little quiz. So here we are at the bicycle friendly business application preview. And there is a fee now for applying, and it's based on the size of your business. And here are the application deadlines. You can see there's one coming up in, opens up in February, and the deadline is in June and will be announced in September. And this is what the application process looks like. And we're going to talk about this a little bit more. And I will tell you that if you need help with the application, we are available as a resource to help you with answering questions as well. All right. And the applications are only accepted online, and you can ask National for help as well. You can email questions to them. There are people or organizations, I should say, who are corporate members of the league, and they may apply for their primary location for free. And this is one of the things that's a little bit confusing about this. For example, the park district, I help the local park district apply. And so you have to choose a location. And of course, a park district has multiple locations, and the transit district has multiple locations, and some businesses have multiple locations. So you choose a location to make the application for a primary location, one that you think is also more viable. and you make the application for that particular spot. And it's easier to do it that way. And if you're a nonprofit, you still apply as a bicycle friendly business. It's a little bit awkward, and some of the questions in are a little bit uncomfortable because you're not actually a for-profit business, but we've been able to get quite a number of nonprofits in our community designated as bicycle friendly businesses. And here it's talking about the survey that it sends out, and it's anonymous. And so they also will, I think, sometimes ask you for some recommendations, if I remember correctly. I haven't done the application in several years now, even though
And I'll say, yes, Ride Illinois is contacted on some of the applications to provide some input.
Yes, that's right, because we're in local bike clubs, organizations like that will also be asked. So here's,
And we do, sorry, Cynthia, we do
Okay.
have a quick question if a library would qualify. I'm assuming yes.
Absolutely, a library would qualify. And I've been meaning to tell our library they should apply because they have great bike parking, and they did a bike rodeo for some kids a few years ago. They offer information. I know some libraries even loan out bikes. So absolutely, a library can apply. And so recognition and feedback, you can see these are this is the little medallion or whatever you want to call your the symbol that they give you for being a bicycle friendly business. It should say bicycle friendly business there, but they're showing cities here. And that's what the form looks like that they give you feedback on, and it gives you the key steps to go into the next level, which is a really helpful roadmap, and is very, very helpful in terms of knowing what you need to do to improve your status. And so you can actually go online and look at bicycle friendly businesses, and I think you can see the report cards. You can certainly do that for communities. And so it'll tell you things for, like, on a community, it would say how many high-speed roads, what percentage of high-speed roads have bicycle facilities. And that's in the category of engineering. And then it'll talk about, what about bicycle education in schools? How did they rank there? That's under education. So they have criteria under each of those categories, and we'll talk some more about that. They also have key outcomes. And that's been a challenge, for example, for the transit district, because the location that we have, where, of course, we have all the buses and the maintenance facility and everything else, is in an industrial location on a busy road. And so biking to work is not the most enjoyable experience. It's an IDOT road that does not have bicycle facilities on it. And I do bike there, but it discourages a lot of the other employees from biking there. So here's a business. I don't know if it's a real business, but it's at least gives you an idea of what the feedback form would look like. And this is the kind of information you get back. And so, for example, it'll ask you question for engineering. It would ask you, do you have bike parking? And some businesses, of course, don't own the space outside their business. So, yeah, that's something that you have to think about how you want to answer, but providing space that's secure for your employees to have bike parking, things like whether or not people can take a shower, and some businesses can and others cannot provide that space. Those are the kinds of things that they're looking for. The ridership I mentioned previously, and doing things like participating in Bike to Work Day and offering events and rides and sponsorships. Those all count a lot for applying to become a bicycle friendly business. You can offer classes, you can offer discounts to classes, you can offer employees incentives. There are a variety of things that you can do. So this is the kind of recognition they're talking about. I certainly have sent out press releases for local businesses and for our community when we've been recognized. And as I said, I sometimes look this up when I'm traveling, and the league also advertises it as well. You can see these are some of the publications that people have been recognized in. And this is, in fact, a transit district that applied. Our transit district was the first one in the country to do that. And others have now figured out it's a great idea to do that. So here are the criteria, the categories as are listed here. They used to have enforcement here, but in consultation with a number of organizations and people about that, they have changed that category, and we now have equity, diversity, and inclusion. But that doesn't mean that we don't have criteria in here for working with enforcement, because we do. And so that's still there. It's just distributed among the other E's. And so you can see here under engineering, things that you could do is in terms of your location, how accessible is it, your advocacy for better access, bike parking, end of trip facilities, and things like that. And then I mentioned incentives and benefits, whether or not you help people with bike share, what kind of support and promotion you do, whether you help offer classes, professional development, education bonus points, and then whether or not you take a look at what you've been doing. And for example, I try to send out a survey to the employees at MTD every year or so, getting feedback from them on some of these things. And so having metrics and goals and staff who work on it, some policies and plans, and then evaluating where you are. Those are all things that they take a look at. So it doesn't have to be fancy bike parking. If you had space in a storeroom or someplace where you could put a couple of bike racks, that is going to give you points in the analysis that is done. And as you can see here, somebody's got a cargo bike, and those are especially hard to park. And it's not fun to park them outside all day long if you've got winter weather. So if you can provide space for those, that really does make a big difference. Location and access, whether you're close to a trail, whether or not it's easy for people to get there. And those are things that you may have some control over. And so you can take that analysis into account. And secured bike parking, of course, and having decent bike racks. If the bike racks aren't under your control, you can certainly advocate with the community in which you are located to improve the bike parking. So it's just showing, I thought this, the bike parking at the ambulance facility was quite interesting. I assume they created that themselves as a special bike parking system. And then end of trip facilities, a repair station. A repair station doesn't have to have a bike stand. It could actually be a toolkit, spare tires and tubes, a pump, things like that. Those really make a difference for getting some points in the survey. If you can provide a better facility like is shown here, then that's super great. I'll get more points for you. And then for encouragement, a variety of things that you can do. We had one of our staff members and his girlfriend made authentic Mexican food for our bike to work day this last year. It was a lot of fun. It was really setting the bar awfully high for future bike to work days, because when I've done it, they've gotten coffee and granola bars. So they did a definite step up from that when the younger people took over this last year. And creating bike culture. One of the bike shops here in town actually has done bike movies and invited the entire community. You can see that's what's being offered here on the left. And so there are a variety of things that you can do to make biking fun and support the culture of bicycling at your business. This is a bike club in Indianapolis. And of course, you should celebrate, take pictures, make a big deal out of events and things that you do. Here's Texas Instruments, and getting the head people at your firm to show up and participate in these events also really makes a difference. Get the mayor to come for your city, whatever you can do to encourage people to come and make it as fun as possible. Invite the media and really talk it up. Offer to sponsor classes. This is a picture of a league cycling seminar that MTD sponsored through our Safe Routes to School grant here a few years ago. And we got, I believe, 9 new LCIs certified as a result in our community with that. And we had several people come from other places, but offering to support that, offering space for it, or whatever other things you can offer that are beneficial to having classes of various kinds. MTD pays for my time to help run these classes, and that really does make a big difference. Here are some fun events. You can see people offering to do rides with employees, showing them routes that they can ride to work, sponsoring club rides. There are a lot of things that business can do that will give you points in the process. And we already talked a little bit about education. The other kind of education we've done on occasion was bike maintenance. And sometimes some of our employees, their primary mode of transportation has been a bike, and they did not know how to maintain the bike. And so I am not the person to do that class. I do not like working on my bike. And so I get a local mechanic to come in and talk about how to do basic bike maintenance. The other thing that they say that you can do is to have a bulletin board, brochures, other things out for employees to have access. MTD, for example, has often sponsored creation of a community bike map. We haven't been printing those in paper as much recently. They don't get used as much. Most people use electronic mapping tools now, but there has been some advantage in the past to having paper copies. They've handed out because we have a number of languages on those that have the rules of the road on it, along with the routes. All right. I also wanted to mention that they've added in additional curriculum now. Bicycle Friendly Driver is one that is available, and the quick guides that you see up here are really nice. You can buy those and distribute them to your employees. We use them I do classes that are just 2 hours for people who want to gain more confidence in learning to bicycle, but they're intimidated by a traffic skills 101 class. And so I use the quick guide. I also use our quiz. Ride Illinois bike safety quiz is really, really great for that. So I set it up. I tell the people that they have to take our bike safety quiz before they come. And then we talk through a lot of the basics. We run over the basics of maintenance and rules of the road. I give them a quick guide. We do on the on-bike skills. And once they've mastered those, we do a road ride. And that's the kind of thing that MTD also helps support. The other thing MTD does, for example, is to help sponsor a Light the Night event where they help purchase lights that we give away once a year to people who bring their bikes in the fall, so that they have lights over the winter as the days are shorter. And in here, in fact, is discussion about Ride Illinois Safely. Our program is working to make bike education courses and resources accessible to everybody, adults and children. And so there's information on our website. We use the League's Smart Cycling curriculum. And this, for example, is one of the things that we do through that program. And then we also offer in-person and on-bike classes. But the bike safety quiz is really a great tool. I encourage you to make use of that as well.
And Cynthia, I'll just interrupt. If you do go to our website in the Ride Illinois Safely program, there's even a form that you can request a course for your business or community.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I should mention too, in terms of the education resources, let me go back. In fact, somewhere in the notes here, she had the different languages that they have the different guides in now. They have it available in Spanish, Korean, Vietnamese, Russian, and Khmer. I don't even know if I said that right. So you can contact the league if you need. I know they have printed versions now in Spanish, so you can get copies of that if that's something that your community or your business wants to offer.
And
So
so on that note, I'll just interject that we do also have our Illinois bike law cards in English and Spanish, and the bike safety quiz is available in English and Spanish as well.
that's right, our quiz. That's in fact what spurred me to think about it being in other languages, as I know we did ours in Spanish as well. And we have a large Spanish speaking population here as well. We also have a really large Chinese population. They speak Mandarin, but by and large, they speak English when they come here because it's mostly students, whereas our Spanish speaking population is not as student oriented. And so some of them don't have the English language skills needed. So the last category here is evaluation and planning. So you can see here some businesses are doing a lot more than I have accomplished with the businesses I've worked with, having rides, having a billboard up so that you can indicate who rode what days and the route of the week, and keeping track of miles. And you can make it a lot of fun. You can use Strava and set up a team. There are also the National Bike Challenge is a lot of fun. You can set up a group for your business and compete, especially locally with other businesses. You can make it a lot of fun in a competition because they count not just how many miles in things like the National Bike Challenge, but how many days and how many trips, and how many of your trips were commuter trips. So I like that evaluation because I do take long rides, but I really ride for transportation more than anything else. Then on the question of equity, diversion, and inclusion, and that's something the league has really been looking at and working on. And Ride Illinois has also been doing a lot of work and making a lot of effort to make connections with groups and communities that in the past we have not connected with as often, or made as much effort to pull into and make feel welcome within our organization. So the Bicycle Friendly America application criteria, just to recap, you see the categories here. And the other thing that they that they emphasized is that all kinds of organizations can be considered bicycle friendly businesses. This is a church in Fort Collins, Colorado. So churches, our food co-op applied and was designated, the transit district, the park district. I'm trying to get our major healthcare provider here to apply, because I think they would qualify. The cities have applied not only as bicycle friendly businesses, but also as bicycle friendly communities. So it's a different set of criteria. It's about focusing more on the employees when they apply as a bicycle friendly business. So there's all kinds of ways that you can approach the program. And if you find yourself struggling to fill out the application, you can always contact us or Amelia Neptune at the national level. And I have helped the Park District recently when they applied. And one of the things that I found was that they didn't include things when they initially went through and filled it out, and then we sat down together, they didn't include things in the application, particularly in the open-ended questions, that I thought that they should. You really have to make an effort to brag on what you have done. And so, and the staff person was very concerned that they wouldn't qualify. I knew that they would qualify, and in fact, they at their first application, they managed to qualify at the silver level. So, sometimes it's easy to tell that someone's going to do well, and because they've already been doing a lot. So here you can go and look on the website. These are the email addresses. You can look at the awards, who's already got one. Do you have any people in your community? And you can look at the application. The next application deadline, it looks different than that was said on the previous slide. That's interesting. It says March 2nd, 2022. And connecting locally, that's another thing. You can go to the website and put in your zip code or your city, whatever level you would like to look at. And so I did this for Urbana. And so you can see it shows you bicycle advocacy organizations and clubs, bike shops, bike co-ops, bike attorneys, businesses, how many league cycling instructors there are, smart cycling classes that you can see right now, there are none listed because we don't do them in the winter rides, but it will show those as well. And whether it's a bicycle friendly community. So all of that you can look at. And this is for Carbondale. And so you can also look at that for community easily. And it'll tell you what level they're at. And so you can go put your community in and you can find those people and find those other businesses and organizations and contact them and ask them about what they did and have that conversation with them. All right, so that is the information that I had to present for you tonight. And then we have some.
I think we have one more poll, right?
Oh, yes, we do have one more poll. That's right. There it is.
And then we did get a couple of questions that came in, so I'll get to those once we do the poll.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll give it a few more seconds. Okay, so we have 40% that said yes, 20% that said no, and 40% that said maybe.
Well, we'll hope we can talk you in past the maybe part, but and actually we'll be happy to help you do it.
And so Chelsea had asked, and then we had a question that kind of dovetails with it. I'm curious about the differences between businesses and university classifications. I'm at a community college that's 100% commuter, wondering which would be the best fit. And with that, Ginger asked, could a community college count as a university?
That's a really good question, and I don't know if I can answer that completely. I would certainly contact Amelia about Bicycle Friendly University, because most of the ones that I have seen, and I could go online and look, but I think they've been universities. But a community college absolutely could apply as a bicycle friendly business, and I think you could probably apply as a bicycle friendly university, but the bicycle friendly business application is easier. And so that might be where you would want to start. And it might depend on the interest and support on your campus, which way you want to go as well. Because if they're really interested and supportive, you might be able to apply as a university, and you could also have them do a few things before you put the application in. Take a look at your bike parking, things like that, to see if they could improve that so that you can include that on your application. And one of the things I should also add is that when you're making the application, one of the things that I would say is that you can also include things that you are planning and preparing to do in the open-ended question part. For example, last time the city of Urbana was applying, we had gotten a big Tiger grant, and we're doing a huge project, multi-million-dollar project to transform a lot of streets to bicycle-friendly streets that are complete streets. And so we talked about that. This next round of application will be able to add all of the mileage installed from that in to get credit for that in our application. But you should say that you did that because that was something that you did do, that you and we're planning to implement. So it's something that you're going to be implementing, you should include. And you need to have something in every section, by the way, in order to qualify and get a bronze or higher designation. You've got to have something in each category. You don't have to be outstanding in each category, but you need to be trying to do something in each of those E categories that they have. And your goal someday should be able to say, you know, that you're doing all of those things, which of course I haven't been able to accomplish yet, but I would certainly, it's certainly a goal that I have. And one other thing I was going to tell you, by the way, I was actually surprised when I looked through the notes that Amelia had in her presentation, was that I was surprised at how many, the percentage of communities actually don't make it the first time that they apply. And I think she said something like 60% of the communities that apply don't get a designation the first time that they apply. Yeah, 60% of bicycle-friendly community applicants do not get an award. And I was surprised to hear that, because most of the communities I've worked with have gotten some sort of recognition, but they were communities that had been working already hard on achieving becoming bicycle friendly. But that roadmap that you get when you apply then tells you exactly what you need to do in order to succeed. And that's super helpful in achieving your goal here, especially with the community, by the way. So do we have other questions?
No. So this is encouraging everyone. If you have a question, put it in there now. Dave did put Amelia's email in the chat
Yes.
for people. And Terry Witt did say it looks like he's working on renewing the bicycle friendly business. And we do have the option, if any of you want to raise your hand to ask the question verbally as opposed to typing it in the chat.
Absolutely.
I can unmute you as well. Ginger said, can you share the link where the application is again?
Yes.
So I have a feeling Dave will probably get to that before either of us do.
Yeah, and I encourage you to really dig around on the website. Sometimes I have trouble finding stuff. And if I do, I just contact them and ask them. So I email Amelia and say, hey, I can't find blah, 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 and she'll send me the link. Because there is a lot of information on the website. So jump in there and dig around, look and see where other bicycle friendly businesses are in the state. And I should have mentioned also, by the way, that when you apply a bicycle friendly community application, you get points for bicycle friendly businesses in your community. So this is something that's really beneficial to the communities, and so I think communities should be working to encourage businesses, and businesses then can talk to the city council or commission or whatever alderman, whatever form you have, and say, we're working on this for our business, and it is good for the community, and advocate with your city about what they're doing to help support you as you're working on this as well.
I know Dave's looking for the link. Otherwise, and he found it. I was going to say, otherwise we could email it after the fact, but Dave is awesome.
Yeah. And
Okay.
you should feel free to contact us if you have questions or need help. And Gina and Dave will forward anything to me that that you may have. And Dave, and have you and or you, Gina, have you helped with applications before?
I have helped with Safe Routes to School grants a while ago. I haven't done this as much. And actually, sorry, Richard has a question. Can public schools apply as
Yes.
businesses?
Absolutely. Yes, so a school, you would apply for a school, not a school district, because it is location specific for bicycle friendly businesses. And by the way, education in schools is a huge part of bicycle friendly community success. That's one of the things Urbana has ranked highly on because of our Safe Routes to School program. And that's a small frustration of mine. Our current state Safe Routes to School funding program this last time didn't include non-infrastructure projects in the round of funding because they had so few applications. And so that means for schools to do those programs, they now have fewer options for funding those activities. But there's a lot of school can do without funding and in terms of education. So that's something I think personally we should be teaching every kid in every school in our state bicycling. And I would love to see that happen while I'm still alive. I don't know if that'll happen, but it's always good to have a goal.
Okay, any other questions? I'll say as Cynthia mentioned, the more bicycle friendly businesses, communities and stuff does help your state ranking. And Ride Illinois does have a very ambitious goal. We want to move up and we're hoping to crack the top 5 by 2025. So, and again, if you come up with questions after the webinar, like if late tonight or tomorrow morning, something pops into your head, please reach out to us. Like I said, if Dave and I don't know the answer, we will forward it on to Cynthia and we'll definitely find that out for you.
And there are people available if your community or a business that you work for that's a bigger business wants a lot of help. There are consultants I know who you can hire to help do those applications, and they will do an outstanding job. And I have to say, I don't want to help do a big communities bicycle friendly community application anymore. It's a lot of work, but bicycle friendly business applications are much smaller, and I'm willing to help with that. I'm willing to help most of the time for nothing. That's not something I'm interested in trying to make money off of unless there's a big job that somebody wants done. But most of the time I'm going to be willing to help you just as a volunteer and an advocate.
Okay, well, this is your final chance for right now to ask a question. Otherwise, like I said, there are numerous ways to contact us. Dave just said Cynthia is awesome too.
Thanks, Dave.
So if you do come up with any questions, if you need input or anything, please reach out to us. And of course, if there are other webinars that you think we should be hosting, let us know that as well. Otherwise, we hope you enjoy your Tuesday evening, and our board meeting is tomorrow at noon if anyone wants to come, or 11:30, sorry, if anyone wants to come join us for that as well. Okay, thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much for coming.
Cynthia, thank you so much for your time and expertise.
Thank you both. Good show.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.